What kind of fats? Whatever fats you're feeding it. That cell membrane is the gatekeeper of your cells. It determines what goes in and what goes out. And it's all based on the charge at the level of the cell membrane. If your diet's high in saturated fat, which is saturated with hydrogen, your body's not going to be able to accept oxygen into the cell because of the charge at the level of the cell membrane. So you cannot convert food into energy because you need oxygen to convert sugar into energy. That's it. That's biochemistry 101. Inside your cells, you have little things called mitochondria. Mitochondria take glucose in the sugar that you eat and it converts it into energy. Now it can convert fat into energy, but it does not want to do that. Only in times of starvation does the body want to use fat for energy. And so that blows the whole ketogenic diet out of the water because the ketogenic diet's high in saturated fat, and that will destroy the charge at the level of the cell membrane and ultimately destroy your health because it will shut down your metabolism over time. And that's exactly what we found out what happened with the Atkins diet, which is the ketogenic diet, okay? So again, you have mitochondria inside your cells, and they require oxygen to convert sugar into energy. And so everything we do on this protocol is designed to increase the mitochondrial production of energy on a cellular level. So the first thing we have to do is reestablish the charge at the level of the cell membrane because it's loaded with hydrogen from saturated fats and processed foods in our diet. And that's why acidity causes disease. You've heard alkalinity, acidity. When we're talking about alkalinity, acidity, what are we talking about? pH. What's pH? Potential hydrogen. So acidity by definition is the buildup of hydrogen in the body, which causes the improper utilization of oxygen. You cannot get oxygen into the cells. So, rule number one, reestablish the charge at the level of the cell membrane by reestablishing the proper fats in the diet. Where are you getting that? Flax oil. Flax oil is a fat that has no hydrogenated saturated bonds. It's called a polyunsaturated fat. And you start taking flax oil, the body starts using that to reestablish the cell membranes. Flax oil's charge literally works as a magnet to suck oxygen into the cell. It's brilliant. And Gerson, the only oil, he tried every oil he had available to him. The only oil that did not cause tumors to get bigger was flax oil. It was the only oil he could heal people on. And he tried them all that he had available to him. So, that's pure medicine. All right? The rest of these go hand in hand.
Can that be put in the juice?
What?
The flaxseed oil?
You could.
Taste awful?
I put it in my oatmeal. I put it on my food. I put it in my oatmeal. I hide it that way. But I love it. I think it's got a nutty flavor.
Just drink a little bit of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so anyway, let me get through this. Save all your questions till the end, and we will get through this quickly. I'm going to take you through the three most important supplements for the increase of mitochondrial production of energy. And the first and foremost is the Gerson potassium compound powder. He came up with this after 300 different experiments with potassium. All right? You take this 8-ounce powder and you put it in a 32-ounce mason jar. And you fill that mason jar all the way up with water. Okay? That's what you need to do. Do not forget to do that. You know how many people leave here and when they see 3 to 4 teaspoons of potassium in each of my juices, they're taking the powder and putting 3 to 4 teaspoons of the powder. And their stomach's on fire. They're peeing like a racehorse. Why? Because this dumps sodium and water out of the body. So you have to take this, put it all in a 32-ounce mason jar, and fill it up with water. And then you dissolve that in solution, And it's that solution that goes into your juices. So you're going to be getting 2 to 4 teaspoons of this in each of your juices. Read those schedules in your book. I told you there's 4 pages in your blue book that are Dr. Gerson's schedules of all the supplements that you take over the 2-year period. The first 3 months, the next 3 months, the next 6 months. It's all right there in the book. Look how much you're taking as time goes on. It changes. You start from 2 to 4, and then you go down to 2, then you go down to 1, and then you stay on 1 the rest of the therapy, okay? Anyway, what is this potassium doing? 2 things. There's a law in your body. That law is you eat potassium, the body dumps sodium in water. You eat sodium, the body dumps potassium, okay? Our diets, our bodies are loaded with sodium because of our diets over the last 5 decades. Too much sodium. We are potassium animals. Our bodies are designed for potassium, not sodium in the quantities that we eat. We need very little sodium. 230 milligrams per day is less than 1/4 of a teaspoon of sodium, which you get in all these fruits and vegetables. And then you get large amounts of potassium in your fruits and vegetables. So when you eat potassium, the body's forcing sodium and water out of the cells, out of the body, through the kidneys, okay? But what's even more important is that inside your cells are structured like ice is structured, or like this building is held up by all the scaffolding, right? So that structure is completely dependent on the potassium content within the cell. So in our diets today of high sodium, it's forcing potassium out of the cell, and it's collapsing the internal integrity and structure of the cell. It'd be like a F5 tornado hitting your house. That's what's happening inside our cells today when we eat salt. Okay? And so to reestablish the internal integrity of the cell, you have to bombard it with potassium. And when you do, water molecules start to line up in very tight formations to reestablish the integrity of the cell membrane and this internal structure of the cell. Now the mitochondria can function properly again, because the sodium and water that was stored up in the cells is now gone, and the internal structure of the cell is reestablished. Mitochondria can now function and produce energy. This is absolutely vital. Next, these 2 you have to take together. This is a natural thyroid glandular that stimulates your thyroid activity. This is Lugol's solution. It's the non-toxic form of iodine, potassium iodide, okay? Why is this important? Your thyroid gland is specifically responsible for reproducing mitochondria. So let's say you walk into this clinic, hypothetically, and you have 1,000 mitochondria in a cell. We start giving you this, you now have 2,000 mitochondria in a cell, because you're stimulating the thyroid to produce more mitochondria. When someone's overweight, lethargic, they're losing their hair, what do we say? They're hypothyroid, okay? Why? Because their metabolism's shutting down. This is one of your primary metabolic organs, your thyroid, because it reproduces mitochondria, which convert food into energy, okay? So, this thyroid glandular is stimulating thyroid activity. When you stimulate thyroid activity, your iodine requirements go up. So you have to take iodine. So on the full therapy, you would get 5 of these and 18 of these to start. Then it goes down to 3 of these and 12 of these. Then it goes down to 1 of these and 6 of these the rest of the therapy.
And that was called what again?
This is thyroid glandular, natural thyroid supplement. So these are absolutely vital. You get 3 months of oh, by the way, these are the supplements that you go home with on the basic Gerson therapy. These are the extra things we have you on while you're here, okay? All right, so that's the difference. That's what these are here. That's what these are here. All right, we're going to go through all of them. Okay, when these run out, or when any of these run out, after your 3-month supply, it's not for you to pick and choose which ones you're going to get and which ones you're not going to get. You're going to get them all. You have to get them all. And all your contact information is in your blue book on where to get these things, okay? You don't pick and choose. Once you start picking and choosing, you're no longer doing the Gerson therapy. It's that simple. The Gerson therapy is a treatment, a holistic treatment. You don't break it down and decide what you're going to do and what you're not going to do. You do that, you're just risking your life. It's that simple. So when these run out, you must continue. And what you do when these run out, you need a prescription for these. So you call up Dr. Martinez or Stephanie or email them. They will send you a prescription. You call up then my friend, Billy Weiss, who's a pharmacist in North Carolina, and he dispenses natural thyroid. And you will call him up with your prescription, and you will pay for it by phone, by credit card, and he will send this to your home. Okay? That's how this works, okay? Okay, and then the Lugol's.
We should like get it before it runs out, right? Yeah, what's the time, the shipping time to be taken?
Wherever you live.
About 2 weeks before you run out.
Yeah, 2 weeks before you run out would be the smart thing to do.
And is
So-
it 1 month supply or is this?
Depends on how much you want.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you just need to let us know how much you want. I think a full jar like this is totally full. I don't think he sends it to us like this. I think for our clinic he does. The patients, he sends it in like 100 counts. So I think this would cost us, I don't know, maybe $200-300. This right here. Yeah, that's not cheap. I can get it much cheaper, but they won't supply me because they won't honor Dr. Martinez's Mexican license. I can get it for like 1/3 to 1/2 that price. Billy's a pharmacist, he marks it up. It's that simple, you know, and we don't get any cut of that action, let me tell you. So anyway, these are very important, okay?
How do you take the iodine though?
Drops, you're getting drops in your juice.
Juice?
Yep, yep, yep. Okay, next, CoQ10. All right, sugar enters the cell. In the presence of oxygen, it goes into the mitochondria. That one sugar molecule is going to produce 3 molecules of something called nicotinic acid dehydrogenase. Those 3 molecules of nicotinic acid dehydrogenase get shuttled down something called the electron transport chain. And the final production of the electron transport chain is energy. So 3 molecules of nicotinic acid dehydrogenase go down the electron transport chain for the final production of energy. That electron transport chain is completely dependent on coenzyme Q10. That's how it functions, on coenzyme Q10. So you're getting large amounts of coenzyme Q10 in your daily regimen, okay? As you get older, your body's ability to extract CoQ10 out of foods and utilize it decreases. So as you get older, to supplement with this would be very wise. All right, next. Niacin. What happens when you take niacin, Anna?
You flush.
You flush. You get hot, red, itchy, right? You flush. Why? You know what niacin is? It's nicotinic acid. What did I tell you one sugar molecule gets broken down into? Nicotinic acid dehydrogenase. Niacin is a form of nicotinic acid, so it actually increases the energy pool. That's why you get hot, red, itchy, flush, and you actually do get a burst of energy, believe it or not. Why? Well, because it is a form of nicotinic acid, but that's not why we give this. We give it exactly for what it causes, the flush. Why? Gerson knew all these foods, all these juices, all these supplements, he needed to get to every corner of the body to get into cancer cells and to rally the immune system. So how do you do that? All these nutrients are sitting in your bloodstream. You need to get it to every corner of your body. How do you do that? You have to expand the capillary and arterial system. How would we normally do that? Exercise. Going and jogging 5 miles, sitting in a sauna for an hour or 2. That increases the capillary expansion, right? That's why you sweat. Well, unfortunately, you can't do those things on this therapy. Why? Because we're trying to create energy on a cellular level so that you can use that energy for healing. If you're going out there and playing tennis for a couple hours every day, going out with your buddies and playing around the golf every day, or going for a 5-mile jog every day, you won't get well. It is that simple. I see it all the time. People who refuse to slow down their lives, refuse to rest. When a dog is sick, what does it do? It eats, it sleeps, and it drinks. That's all it does. It does nothing else until it's better. So if you do not rest, you will not heal. It is that simple. And that includes this. What requires more energy than anything on a daily basis to function? This. So mind, body, and spirit. All three need to slow down if you're going to get well. Keep that in mind, because that is the reality. All right? So, Dr. Gerson, to increase capillary exchange between the bloodstream and the tissue, gave you large amounts of niacin. It was brilliant. There's no other way we could get these things to the rest of the body. So throughout the day, you're getting niacin. All right? Next, let's talk about digestion. So how does the body digest food? Well, it starts in the mouth, right? Body starts to break down food in the mouth, then you swallow it, then the stomach enzymes work on that part of digestion. Once the stomach's done with it, it dumps it into the small intestine, where sitting right there is the pancreas. Then the pancreas excretes its enzymes to continue the digestive process. Once that's finished, it enters the small intestine and goes through 75 feet of small intestine, or all your intestine is 75 feet long, and other enzymes finish the digestive process. Well, if 70% of your immune system is in your digestive tract, because the breakdown of food into energy starts where? In the digestive tract. So if the secret to health is the breakdown of food into energy, the breakdown of food is the biggest factor. And so that's why your digestive tract is 70% of your immune system. So if you come in here sick, your digestive tract is sick. And so as you eat these foods, you can't optimally break them down. So we have to facilitate that. So how do we do that? This is your stomach enzymes. Betaine HCl, also known as acidol. Okay? This is acidol or betaine HCl with pepsin. You get 2 of these before your meals to prepare your stomach for the food that's about to come. Okay? Simple. That's only for digestion, this purpose, for the stomach's digestion. The next thing we give you is this. Univase Sport. $400. This bottle that you go home with is $400 retail. If you call them up when this runs out, he'll give you a $100 discount if you say you're my patient, and it'll cost $300. This will last you 3 months. There's 800 capsules in here. This is the highest concentrated pancreatic enzyme supplement that we know of on the market right now. But even more importantly, we give you this for digestion. But this isn't the main reason why we give this to you. This is the highest form of alpha-chymotrypsin that we have been able to find on the market. Alpha-chymotrypsin is specifically responsible for breaking down cancer cells and tumors. So when you take this with meals, it aids digestion. When you take this in between meals, it starts to break down tumor tissue and diseased tissue. And so ladies, when you're pregnant, in your 7th week of pregnancy, you get a massive burst of pancreatic enzymes. Why? Because cancer cells are very similar to embryonic cells. They're both dividing rapidly. And as that egg is embedding itself in the uterine wall at 7 weeks, if you don't get that massive burst of pancreatic enzymes to shut off the division, those cells can penetrate the uterine wall, enter the general systemic circulation, and by the end of a pregnancy or 2, you'll be ravaged with cancer. And we're seeing that more and more and more as the years go on.
Is that like the Frida?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
But we're seeing it more and more and more. Over the last 25 years, people are coming in younger and younger and younger with cancer. Why? Because from the day they're born to the day they get pregnant, they do everything humanly possible to destroy the human pancreas. How do you destroy the human pancreas? Milk, meat, cheese. What else? Cookies, cake, ice cream, processed foods, refined alcohol, any alcohol, but refined alcohols in particular. These things destroy the pancreas. So now it's time to get pregnant when you need your pancreas more than anything, and you don't get the burst of pancreatic enzymes necessary. So keep that in mind. So we give large amounts of this. Now, I think on this therapy, when you're here, you're getting anywhere from 6 to 8 of these a day. You could probably take upwards of 12 to 14 per day. I guess some people are taking upwards of 12 to 14 of these per day, most of those in between meals, right? And it'll start to break down tumor tissue, okay? Keep that in mind. Nick Gonzalez and Dr. William, his mentor, Dr. William Kelly, who we cured of pancreatic cancer, they like mega dosed on pancreatic enzymes. So, and they didn't juice as much. For whatever reason, William Kelly, he didn't juice as much on his version of the Gerson therapy. So anyway, big supplement. Back to digestion. So this is the pancreas. Once it leaves the pancreas, it enters the small intestine, and tertiary enzymes start to work on the final process of digestion. If you look on the label here, it's loaded with all these different types of enzymes. Those are all your small intestine enzymes. So you get one of these with each meal, okay?
What's the name of that one? Sorry.
Huh?
The name of that one?
Digestzyme V from Orthomolecular Products. Again, it's in your books where to get ortho products.
Is that part of our package?
No, this is over here.
Okay.
Yeah. So anyway, so Digestzyme V, small intestine, works on the small intestine. All right? Okay, next. This also goes home with you. Reacted selenium. So this is an amino acid chelated form of selenium. You have some 375 odd enzyme systems in your body. Virtually every single one requires selenium. But all our soils today are depleted of selenium. Why? Probably because of the mercury-based pesticides that are sprayed on our lands and have been sprayed on our lands for God knows how long at this point. So mercury depletes the body of selenium, and mercury depletes the soil of selenium. All right? So if we have mercury fillings, we're depleted of selenium. So you just get one of these. You don't need to take more than one of these per day. And that's that. Okay? Methyl B12. So a healthy digestive tract can produce its own B12. But because our digestive tracts are sick, it cannot do that until it's better. And so once your digestive tract is healed and you're healed, you'll start to produce this. People say you can only get B12 out of animal products. It's not true. Like I said, you can still get B12 from a healthy digestive tract. Aloe vera is an absorbable form of B12, believe it or not. So spirulina has B12 in it, but it's not as highly absorbable as the aloe is. So anyway, you get a little B12 orally. You can put it under your tongue, and you can dissolve it under your tongue, and you get enough B12 for the day. But you're also getting aloe too.
Is that that little baby pill?
That's that little red. Yep.
And that's once a week or once a day?
Once a day.
Is the liquid form more digestible to you?
Yeah, probably. Yeah. I mean, just as digestible, but
Yeah.
dissolving it under the tongue. Okay, next. So these are all the supplements you go home with, barring the Digestzyme V. All right, you get all that.
How much is that one last for?
This, I think wholesale I pay maybe $40, I think, wholesale. So it might be $75, $80 retail. I think on Amazon, so look, Orthomolecular, they only supply doctors. That's it. They only supply doctors, chiropractors, naturopaths. However, there's someone on Amazon selling this, and they're not happy about it. And it's less than retail than a doctor would sell it. Okay? Anyway. Okay. So, we got to heal the digestive tract. Through the abuse of food, antibiotics, right? We've destroyed the intestinal flora. So every day you're getting 2 of these and 2 of these. Saccharomyces boulardii and orthobiotic. This is a strain of multiple strains of lactobacilli. This is actually a brother, sister to brewer's yeast. And it's an absolutely vital component of the digestive tract. And your naturopaths overlook this. So you need both of these, okay? They're very beneficial. It would be wise, probably for the next 3 to 6 months, max, to supplement with these.
Can you pronounce them again? Sorry.
Huh?
Can you pronounce them again?
Saccharomyces. Sacro, like saccharin. Myosis. Boulardii. Got that?
That's one, yeah. Not 3-1, right?
So anyway, this is a vital component of the digestive tract. You shouldn't need this after 3 to 6 months. You should have well reestablished your digestive tract with the flora and spirulina too. Spirulina can recolonize the bacterial flora within your gut, killing pathogens. Okay? Spirulina is powerful. And I'm going to go through it here in a second with my crib notes. Anyway, yeah.
So on our schedule, it says when to stop. On our schedule.
No, on your schedule, it doesn't tell you when to stop.
Okay.
But I would do these for 3 to 6 months. Yeah. Okay, let's see. Vitamin K2 with D3. We supplement with this now because the studies are clear that cancer patients are so low in vitamin D. One of the primary precipitating factors of your risk of cancer isn't just obesity, it's vitamin K2 with D3. Okay? The vitamin D in your body. So, obviously you get vitamin D from the sun. And so you should spend a good 20 to 30 minutes getting as much sun as possible on your skin. If you live in a warm or a cold region in the winter, sit in front of the window and get sun in the window. And that will help just as much as well. Okay? So, vitamin D3. D3 is the activated form of vitamin D. Okay? Keep that in mind. Vitamin D3 is the active form. It's more highly absorbable with K2, but you're going to get K2 in your diet from your greens. Your greens are loaded with K2. All right? And if you're adding the spirulina to the protocol when you go home, which I highly suggest everyone does, then that's going to also provide more than enough K2 that you need. All right? Vitamin C, oral vitamin C. We used to do IV vitamin C. Everybody's doing IV vitamin C. The studies are coming out now that IV vitamin C long-term use is detrimental to the human body. Why? For the same reasons white sugar is detrimental to the human body. What did I tell you about white sugar? White flour, white rice? It's been stripped of the nutrients you need to run it through the energy cycles. So when you eat it, the body has to scramble to find the nutrients necessary to run it through the energy cycles. So where is it going to get it from? The bone and the bone marrow. The bone and the bone marrow are a nutrient reserve for the human body. They're actually the reserve tank for the immune system. And when you eat processed foods, it robs the bone and the bone marrow of the nutrients that it needs to run those through the energy cycles. And that's why we get sick. After 3, 4, 5 decades, we're robbing our immune systems, and the body shuts down. And it can no longer fend off what it naturally fends off. Cancer, viruses, bacteria, etc., right? All right. Vitamin C. When you get 100 grams, 100,000 milligrams of vitamin C in an IV, you're getting concentrated ascorbic acid made in a laboratory. What's it made from? It's made from genetically modified cornstarch and sulfuric acid. That's how they isolate ascorbic acid in a laboratory and inject into your IV vitamin C. Ascorbic acid is not vitamin C. If you look at a vitamin C molecule, it has an outer ring of ascorbic acid And the rest of the internal structure are all these other vitamins, minerals, and cofactors and bioflavonoids. But you don't get them in IV vitamin C. So when you're dumping 100,000 milligrams of IV vitamin C into the human body with one IV, what do you think the body's doing? Well, first of all, the body's like, I got to get rid of this crap. And it's peeing out 95% of it. What do you think it's doing with the other 5%? It's trying to package the deal. Just like with white sugar, it's got to now package the deal to make it into a vitamin C molecule. Now, I'm hypothesizing here, but that's exactly what it does with white sugar. Why wouldn't it do the same thing with ascorbic acid? So it starts scrambling probably to try to find the things it needs to make it recognizable and utilizable. So it's going to start robbing the body of whatever part of the body holds the rest of the contents of a vitamin C molecule. And what would that be? Your collagen and your connective tissue. Your collagen and connective tissue are made up of hydroxyapatite and vitamin C. And so that's what it's doing. It's probably taking all of that and packaging it. And so what they're finding now is after so many months of doing IV vitamin C, it's starting to break down the integrity of the connective tissue and the vascular system. So you're getting spider veins, varicose veins, and God knows what else. Okay? So what do we do now? We don't do IV vitamin C. All day, you get a vitamin C supplement made from the 3 richest sources of vitamin C: camu camu, amla berry, and unripe acerola cherry. And they all are in this capsule. Let me give you an example of the quality difference. If you were to buy a 60-count bottle of ascorbic acid made in a laboratory, you might pay $7-8 for it. This 60-count bottle is $30. That's the difference. 5 to 6 times more. And if you open it up, it's pure food. You dump it on your tongue, it tastes just like a vitamin C supplement. Okay? This is high quality stuff right here. All right. Next, we're giving you this for now because curcumin is on its way. You were getting curcumin, turmeric in capsule. This is the same thing essentially. It's pure curcumin, but it also comes with bee propolis and skullcap root extract. Typically what we use this for is the pain triad. If you look at the pain triad in your blue book, when you have pain, you take niacin, vitamin C, and you take this, 2 capsules of this, and that's part of your pain triad. As we're waiting for the curcumin, you're taking this right now because it's a high dose of curcumin. The studies on curcumin are clear. Its ability to cut cancer off at the level of the stem cell, the literature is this high, all right, or higher. Okay, so you're all getting curcumin in your supplements. Raw living spirulina. Now, have any of you tasted organic spirulina powder? No? Okay. Yeah, it's nasty. It smells and it tastes horrible. Why? Because it's dead. Even though it's organic and it's in a powdered form, the reason why it stinks and tastes horrible is because it's dead. Spirulina is a bacteria. It's a cyanobacteria. You dehydrate it in the form they dehydrate it into to make it consumable. That's why it stinks and tastes horrible. Well, there's now someone in Florida producing live living spirulina. You go and open one of these fresh jars and smell it. It smells like yogurt. It's like opening up a thing of yogurt and smelling yogurt. And you taste it, it has no taste. Absolutely no taste. And its texture, much nicer. Okay? This is powerhouse nutrition. NASA, the United Nations have declared this the greatest food on the planet. And when we get it, it's harvested the day before, shipped to us overnight, and we have 2 weeks to use it to get its maximum health benefits. Again, the health benefits on spirulina, the studies are this high as it relates to everything. Cancer, viruses, bacteria. It's absolutely incredible what spirulina does. And until recently, you could only get it in its dead powdered form. And now we get it in live form. We put it on a live microscope. You can actually see them swimming around. It's alive, okay? This is pure food. You know Chernobyl, when Chernobyl happened, the Russian government gave everybody around the nuclear reactor spirulina because of its ability to protect against DNA and radiation damage, DNA damage due to radiation, ionizing radiation, and numerous other things. But anyway, I'm going to read to you, because I can't possibly remember everything that spirulina is good for. So I'm going to read to you a list of everything that this can do. All right. Cyanobacteria, it colonizes the gut versus unwanted pathogens and viruses, parasites. There's something in it called calcium spirulon, which is a very high antiviral agent. The University of Maryland did a study on spirulina, and this is the powdered spirulina, okay? All these studies that I mentioned was powdered. And the University of Maryland study is it increases the antibody production. Why do you need antibodies? To kill viruses, bacteria, and cancer. It protects against DNA damage due to radiation. It binds radioactive isotopes. It's very high in natural sulfur. Why is that important? Because your liver pathways of detoxification require sulfur. Glutathione transferase, which we're trying to stimulate with the coffee enema, is sulfur dependent. Okay? So it's going to enhance the production of your glutathione transferase in your enemas. Increases oxygenation due to chlorophyll. So chlorophyll is nearly identical to hemoglobin. The only difference is hemoglobin has iron, chlorophyll has magnesium. Okay? Chlorophyll is a highly potent heavy metal detoxifier as well. So it's going to detoxify your heavy metals. Phycocyanin, which is a chemical in that's what gives it its color, phycocyanin. Chlorophyll and sulfur all detox your heavy metals. It's great during radiation treatment. It protects against radiation. If you run this through the airport scanners, it doesn't even affect it. This can be protective against any kind of radiation. Hence the reason why they gave it to people at Chernobyl. A study in the biochemical pharmacology, biochemical pharmacology magazine or whatever it is, journal. Phycocyanin decreases the proliferation of leukemia cells, causing apoptosis of leukemia cell lines. So you give this to leukemia patients, it causes apoptosis of their leukemia. Okay? That's powerful. Typically, we don't treat acute leukemia here. It's too aggressive and the therapy can't get the upper hand on the disease. But we've now formed a leukemia protocol that we would love to start treating people with. The problem is when they start researching the Gerson therapy historically, we don't treat acute leukemia. Chronic we do. We actually have success with chronic, but acute, we don't have great success with on the basic therapy. But with some of these advanced protocols, I think we could do tremendous amount with acute leukemia. The Cancer Science Journal of 2009, study done on spirulina, it increased the natural killer cells in mice. Natural killer cells like macrophages, right, in your body. Okay. It has a high affinity for oral tumors like mouth cancer. So keep that in mind too. It has a 10.5 pH. One more thing. I'll read this. Has more iron than spinach, more beta carotene than carrots, more protein than beef and assimilable protein, and more calcium than milk. It's just loaded with nutrition. I think they say 1 kilogram of this, which would be 2.2 pounds, has more nutrition in it than 1,000 pounds of fruits and vegetables. That's what they say. And so, you know all the colors of your fruits and different fruits and vegetables? All those different colors have all different healing properties to them. For example, something called zeaxanthin is very good for the eyes. And zeaxanthin is like a purplish, or I think it's a purplish color when you break it down. Spirulina has the full spectrum of colors in the fruit and vegetable world. The full spectrum. So that's what makes it so powerful in its healing ability.
What is it made of? What is it? Where does it come from?
Spirulina is historically, it comes from Lake Chad in Africa and Lake Texcoco in Mexico City. So the Aztecs used to harvest it and would eat it. They'd make it, and so would the people around Lake Chad. They make it into flat cakes, so they harvest it, and it's gooey. You'll see it. And they would make it into flat cakes, temporarily, like bake it in the sun, and eat it immediately. Yeah, powerful. It grows at 107 degree temperatures. So this guy, he tried to grow it in Colorado by producing 107 degree temperatures, or tried to anyway. He couldn't succeed. So he moved to Florida and he started a spirulina farm. He's been here, he's here for a week. He did a lecture, it was really fascinating. Fascinating guy.
How long has he been
In Florida.
Oh, I think he's been in Florida 7-8 years at this point.
Fairly recently.
Maybe even less, maybe 3 or 4 years. He's only brought it to market within the last 2 years. But raw living spirulina, so this costs $75 per jar. You would use as a patient 2 jars for every 2 weeks, okay? So for our patients, if you use the code GERSON10 and go sign up for 2-week auto ship, 2 jars every 2 weeks, GERSON10, you get it for $50, okay?
I think it's only a one-time 10% off. Look it up.
No, it's not. You need to call them. You need to tell them you're my patient. The code GERSON10, if you do auto ship, it should be $50, $25 off per jar. Now there's another link. Listen. There's another link, and that link is for people going on our website and then going to spirulina. They'll pay essentially the full Monty, and then we get an affiliate commission. But for my patients that come here, Gerson10, call him up. Gerson10 should get you $25 off a jar if you go on 2-week auto ship of 2 jars.
I think that's what Stephanie had said, that if you call, they'll give you that automatic, that 2 weeks, they'll give you 10, but if you go online, they'll give you it at one time. You get the call.
So that's still
so there you go.
$400 a month. That's still $400 a month that way.
No, it's every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks.
$200 a month.
$200 a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
No, it's $200.
$2, 2 jars, $50. 2 times a month.
Oh, but it lasts you 2 weeks, so you're gonna have,
2 jars will last you 2 weeks.
oh.
Remember, this is going in your green juices. 1 to 2 teaspoons.
Their job,
1 to 2 spoons a jar a week. Okay?
It's such a superfood. Why do you have to take it so much? Why couldn't you like take half that and still get the
You could.
benefits out of it?
You could.
Because it is
You
a
could.
superfood on top of everything else we're eating. So
Mm-hmm.
it's almost overkill.
He eats a jar a day.
Well, he's crazy. He grows it.
It's expensive is why you're saying that.
Well,
right?
that we already taken a lot of other superfoods too. It just seems like you could almost do half that and still benefit just from
Probably.
it.
So I was eating it, taking tablespoons. So I've been doing this a couple of months before I came. Is that better than putting it in the drinks? Just the same? Doesn't make any
Whatever you
difference?
want to do.
As long as you get it in.
Yeah,
there.
but I wouldn't be doing like mega tablespoons. You should be
I'll do
doing.
about 3 tablespoons a day.
Yeah, I wouldn't. That's too much.
Well, if you put 2 teaspoons
Every drink.
in every, you just put it in every green
Yeah.
drink. So that's like eight teaspoons, is 3 teaspoons.
Oh, you were
in a
doing 3
tablespoon.
tablespoons per day.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
So that was about the same, because that's 2.5 tablespoons what you're recommending.
Yeah. Yeah, two tablespoons is what I recommend.
Right.
And that's essentially what you're getting in your juices per day. Okay? Anyway, so, and as you go on in the therapy, you can probably take less, you know? But in the beginning, you know, we're trying to bombard. And one of the other reasons why we do this is for that near-infrared sauna. So that near-infrared sauna, okay? There's a book called The Medicine of Light by Nathaniel Mead. The Medicine of Light. And the science coming out now is when you bombard the body with large amounts of chlorophyll, which you're getting in your green juice, and you're certainly getting it in this. And then you stick people in front of near-infrared light specifically. Not far, not mid. Near-infrared light. Cancer cell apoptosis goes through the roof. So somehow the cancer cells take up the chlorophyll, and when you hit them in near-infrared light, it probably changes, I believe, their fermentative state that they're in. Photosynthesis, so to speak.
He sweats a lot.
Does he?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I began to sweat. Remember I told you I wasn't sweating after 3 days? Yeah, I started sweating too.
Good news.
Yeah.
But anyway, chlorophyll, near-infrared. Now that's a $3,000 sauna. Top of the line. You don't need that. You can jimmy one up like that for $600-700, $800. Buy a canvas, cover it up, buy four $10, $15 Philips near-infrared lights. And then they sell these one light units where, you know, if you have a tumor, I guess you could put it right over the tumor, right? Those are $100, $120 on Amazon, I think.
Near and infrared. Huh?
Yeah, they're near-infrared lights. Yeah, that's the science. So, last thing, your aloe vera. So you're getting in every juice 1 ounce of raw, pure aloe vera. So when you go to the store and you buy aloe vera off the shelf, it's deadly. It's toxic. They've had to deodorize it. They've had to decolorize it. Then they've added preservatives. That's why it can last on a store shelf. Pure aloe vera in 5 days, it's rotten. It's completely fermented. Okay? And I think that's even if you refrigerate it. The aloe we get comes from the Dominican Republic, grown organically, a chiropractor in Florida named Mike Haley, and that's the name of his company, Haley something, Stockton Aloe or Haley something. He grows it in the Dominican Republic. It's hand filleted. The gel, the healing gel, there's not a more potent healer of the digestive tract than aloe vera. Perhaps spirulina as well. And then obviously your juices, right? So that's being shipped to us, 2-day ship, after it's been harvested, frozen. It arrives to us frozen. We wait for it to immediately thaw. Then we have to transfer it into those 59-ounce jugs. And then we stick those jugs back in the freezer, and then we take it out as we use it. And so we probably go through one of those jugs every single day. We're ordering aloe when we're like this full. We're ordering aloe every week. So there's not a more potent healer of the digestive tract than that. Quickly, aloe vera. It's highly alkaline. The Egyptians called it the plant of immortality. It's an antiviral, antibacterial, and antifungal. Okay? Why is that? Well, one, because it's an antifungal. Obviously, it's alkaline. How do fungi survive? Fungus? In a acidic environment, right? So when you're giving anything alkaline, candida, athlete's foot, all of that stuff goes away. Toenails, fungal toenails and stuff, those all get better. If you have fungal toenails, wait until 6 to 9 months. Within 6 to 9 months, that'll be gone. Your nails will start to grow normal again. That's pure healing. The body's not selective in what it's going to heal. It's going to heal your cancer and everything else. That's why when Ray was here, told you he had psoriasis when he came. He had the beginning of psoriasis. It's gone. 3 weeks. That's standard. Okay? So, anyway. It contains amylase and lipase, which are enzymes that break down sugars and fats. It has 20 of the 22 amino acids, nearly a complete protein. It has a natural form of B12. It has vitamin A, vitamin C, vitamin E, all in that little gelatinous part. Who'd have thunk it? Let's see. Some people drink 2 glasses a day, 2 8-ounce glasses a day. Well, you'd almost be getting that. If you're getting 1 in every juice, that's 13 juices a day if you're getting 13 juices a day. Anyway, it contains compestrol and lupeol, which decrease inflammation in the body. It's considered nature's Botox as its nutrients stimulate collagen production. That's interesting. It's high in beta-satosterol, which eliminates unhealthy cholesterol. I've never heard of these 2 things in 25 years of nutrition. Auxins and gibberellins. That's what they're called. I've never heard of them. Auxins and gibberellins are hormones that help the body heal from cuts and wounds. That's why you probably put it on aloe when you have cuts and wounds or sunburn, right? That's the healing property. It's a powerful antiseptic. It's high in polysaccharides, which boost the immune system. Oh, this is interesting. So the Hippocrates Institute in Florida, they did like an internal study of their patients. They gave some of their patients aloe vera with all their supplements and wheatgrass and stuff, and then they didn't give their other group aloe vera. Then they tested them for their nutrient absorption. And apparently the nutrient absorption of their foods in the group that got the aloe was exponentially greater than the ones that didn't. I don't know why that would be. Somehow maybe the polysaccharide content somehow facilitates the absorption of the food. I don't know. Anyway, last thing, it contains a chemical called ace-mannan. Ace-mannan increases the macrophage production in your body. Remember, macrophages are, macro means big, phage means eat. They're the big cells that eat cancer, viruses, and bacteria, digest them, and get rid of them. GCMAF, macrophage activating factor, that's another thing. It stimulates macrophages. So aloe with GCMAF. So these little strategies, this is the science. We don't just do these things because that sounds like a great idea. It's all the science. That's it. If the science doesn't back it up, you don't get it. All right? This is the advanced Gerson therapy. And then all this other stuff. You know, it's unfortunate that when we get sick, it's not cheap to get better. But if you think about all the money we spent getting sick, right? It's a miracle that within 2 years, you can reverse 50 years of damage. That's called God's mercy. That's the reality. And so, it's unfortunate that requires resources, right? We squander health in search of wealth, only to squander wealth in search of health, right? Yeah, that's, you know.
They say if you put the right fuel in, you can make a whole new year in 2 years.
It's miraculous. And so, you know, if I were to strategize financially on what to do, obviously Gerson is foundational. You've got to do that, right? I would get the ozone unit, bubble ozone into my enemas. I would probably do GCMAF, which, by the way, a new GCMAF is arriving. We've been giving second generation. Okay, so there was first generation GCMAF, then there was second generation GCMAF up until recently. And both were very powerful. Second generation more powerful than first generation. We're now receiving this week 5th generation GCMAF. They come in capsules as well, but there's also IV form or injectable form.
Is that the layer one?
No, GCMAF is different than Leotron.
So the ozone unit, do what to it again, or what we use it?
So we use an ozone unit to bubble ozone into our product, into our fruits and vegetables to disinfect them. You can take that same ozone unit, and there's a tube, and then out of the tube comes the ozone. You can put that tube in your enema as the enema's entering into you, and then as soon as the enema's in you, you shut off the ozone unit. And that will oxygenate your body. Okay? So if you can't afford a Beamer, do the ozone. It's cheaper, it'll still give you oxygen, right? And then, you know, things like aloe. So we get it in a big 4-gallon bucket. That costs $250. That'll last someone a month and a half probably. Okay? Probably around a month and a half a patient. Spirulina, obviously that's expensive too, but you get it for $50 a jar. But, you know, GCMAF. GCMAF is very powerful. And it's typically just a 3 to 6 month protocol.
Do you recommend taking it in the capsule form?
No, I would inject it.
So you have to have a procedure then.
Is that the one?
No, we would teach you how to do that.
At
Is that
home?
the one that goes
You
around?
do it at home. Huh?
Is that the one that goes around your belly button?
Yep. Inject
Taking
it.
that one.
Yeah, you're taking that.
I'm taking that too.
Yeah, you're taking that. It's powerful.
Once you leave here, where do you get that done? Yeah, how do we do
I
it
think
at
there's a
home?
link.
Okay.
We have a link for that.
That we can actually buy what we need and do it at home.
So
Inject
there's
yourself.
just
And inject
injections.
ourselves.
Yeah, injections. Yeah. And again, that's temporary. Remember, as you're rebuilding your immune system, a lot of these other things don't become as necessary. And typically within 6 to 9 months, your digestive tract is restored. And that's where you start to see the tumors being destroyed, typically by the 9 and 12th month.
Can you explain GCMF?
Yes. So GCMAF is naturally produced by the body. But cancer cells, they produce an enzyme called nagalase. Cancer cells have an uncanny capacity to release chemicals that weaken the immune system, that shut it down. They're parasitic. And so they produce nagalase. And nagalase shuts down the natural production of GCMAF in the body. MAF stands for macrophage activating factor. It activates the macrophages in your body. So when we're injecting GCMAF into you, that's activating the macrophages. You then add aloe, which has the chemical ace-mannan, which also stimulates macrophage production.
Double factor.
And all this is stimulating macrophage production. But these specifically, right? And then you have natural killer cells, you have white blood cells, you have like lymphocytes, you have neutrophils, all these other cells. Choles, when you get choles, that's stimulating your neutrophils. This therapy stimulates your neutrophils. When you walk in here, over the 12 to 24 months, you can see a shift in your blood results in the neutrophil content. It's building neutrophils. You know what really builds up your neutrophil content? Are the fruits, the vegetables you're eating. Nightshade vegetables. You've heard of the nightshades? Tomato, onion, garlic, eggplant, peppers, potatoes. Those are all nightshades. Why are those good for you? Because they keep your immune system functioning in an optimal level. They stimulate neutrophil production, which are your white blood cells, which are your inflammation. It's your immune system. That's why arthritics, who already have inflammation in the body, right, due to toxicity and poor diet, they can't eat nightshades. It makes them worse. Arthritics. Now on this therapy, it makes them better because they're getting rid of all the toxins and they're getting nutrients, right? But that's what it does. Gerson was a genius. If you look at your diet, it's loaded with nightshades. Why? To stimulate neutrophil production. Who knew that? Nobody knows that. None of these doctors out here, even your naturopaths, they don't understand that.
What about, what do you think about vitamin B17?
That's Laetrile. We do that here.
But I mean, like, okay, well, because I'm not going to go home and get that injected into me.
Right.
Apricot seeds, right?
No. No nuts and seeds on the Gerson therapy.
The B17, we could take that to help shrink tumors.
Yes, so I know a patient who did the capsule, the vitamin C capsule or tablet protocol. When you get an IV here of Laetrile, you're getting between 6 to 9, you're getting 9 grams. But the standard dosages therapeutically are between 6 to 9 grams. You'd have to eat like 500 to 1,000 kernels of apricots to get the therapeutic amount of Laetrile, okay? There's a capsule protocol where they come in 500 milligram capsules or tablets. You could take 12 to 18 of those per day to get those effects. But you have to be careful with Laetrile. It can cause your blood pressure to plummet. If you go on the typical protocol of Laetrile capsules, the person I knew, she nearly fainted 5 or 6 times when she was taking it. You gotta be careful.
Just forget about it unless you do it.
Well, you just need to be aware of that. And you certainly don't want to do it for more than 6 months because it can start to ruin the lining of the lungs.
My blood pressure's gone down a lot since I've been here.
Absolutely. Within 2 to 3 weeks, we're
Have you
throwing
been
out.
doing the Laetrile?
Yeah. You know, within 2 to 3 weeks, we're throwing out people's high blood pressure meds.
How many capsules a day? Are those 500 milligrams?
You want to get 6 to 9 grams per day, so 12 to 18. That would be 12 to 18 capsules.
But in the United States, you can't get it to order through, is it a certain place to get it?
You'll have to talk to Stephanie. I honestly don't know where you get it. I know people can get it. You just Google it, I guess.
How about when you're on this therapy? Because like, I've been on my 11th day here, I decided to go check out a couple shops in Mexico here. I bet I walk the equivalent very slowly, maybe the equivalent of 6 city blocks, maybe. And my hips, they hurt as if I did a whole bunch of exercise because I laid here for 11 days. So what kind of exercise can we be allowed to do at all?
You all should go out and try to walk for 20 to 30 minutes each day.
We should.
Absolutely. You have to.
You got to, otherwise everything gives out.
Well, that's exactly right. And you have a law in your body. It's called Wolff's Law. Wolff's Law is your body lays down bone in response to the forces of gravity put upon it. So when we walk, we're programming the body to maintain our bone density. Do you know what happens to astronauts when they go into space? They lose all their bone. Do you know they come back? When they first did space walking and stuff, or going into space, they came back with virtually no bone because there's no gravity. So the body says, I don't need bone. So it starts reabsorbing your bone. So now what do they do in space? Do you see what they do in space? They pin them down to these walking machines. Yeah, the Stairmasters and stuff. They pin them down.
When I broke my leg, I was laid up for a little while. I tell you, my left leg wouldn't work.
Yeah.
Because it was so immobile for like 2-3 months before
Yeah.
I actually start moving.
You have to move. And so it's beneficial for you to get out and just go for a gentle 20-30 minute walk.
That's good.
Once or twice a day. Just get out. You get sun, you get fresh air. It's spiritually good for you.
It is. I do it during my work shift twice a day.
Another question real quick is, I used to order the buckets from the Gerson Institute. The plastic buckets, is your site, can you order?
I don't sell anything.
So you have to
My-
still go to the Institute to get
Yeah, I
those?
never sell anything.
And how about mowing the lawn? Is that not exercise, but is that good walking? It's just pushing the lawnmower?
It depends on how big your lawn is, right?
How much energy you going to
Yeah.
I don't sweat or anything.
Well, How big's his lawn?
It's more than 30 minutes.
And pushing. Do you have a?
Pushing uses.
Are you actually pushing it, or is it one of those?
No,
It pushes
some
itself.
propel, some propel.
Oh,
You're just walking behind it.
How often do you do that?
Probably once every week and a half.
All right, I guess.
You do half and
Where
half.
do you live again?
California.
Oh yeah, that's real good in the summer.
You can do half
Uh,
one day and
If I
half
do it, I
the
do it early in the morning or late in the afternoon. I don't do it at noon.
You're trying to sell me on this, man.
Right.
half one day, half the next day.
Okay, I'm not big about it.
Well, do half of it, rest a while, and go back and do the other half. While, you know what I mean?
And then you need to
Compromise.
Yeah, do 15
There you go, do
to
your
20
fif-
minutes
there
at
you
a
go.
time, you know, and rest.
Do your 15, 20 minutes in the morning, 15, 20 minutes.
You know what I
in
mean?
the
Because
evening.
the deal is you don't
You want a mohawk right in the middle?
healing your body is more important than your lawn looking good.
That's true.
You understand what I'm saying, bro? So you don't want to give up your healing energy just so your
That's
lawn looks
exactly
But
right.
if the sun comes out at 7, I'm out there at 6:30, I should be all right.
Okay, you'll be okay,
waking up
Manny.
neighbors.
All right, Manny. I'll
Waking
give
up.
you that.
I don't know how clear it was on the protocol, but do we keep up the once a week castor oil treatment until the end of the 2 years?
Okay, so again, read your schedules. In your schedules, it shows you what the castor oil treatments look like. All right. The only thing that's going to be different in those schedules is I want everybody to work their way up to 13 juices and 5 enemas per day. I want everyone to work their way up to 13 juices and 5 enemas per day for 6 months minimum.
And we're there already?
Gerson is for 6 months
Keep going.
minimum.
So you got 2 weeks in there.
Yeah, exactly. You've got 5.5 more months minimum. If you can keep it up for a year, even better. So that changes, or that doesn't change. I want that 13.5 for as long as you can handle it. Okay? Because Gerson would only do it for 2 to 3 months. And then you go down to like 11 and 4, 10 and 3, right? But what Gerson was dealing with compared to now, 13 and 5 is imperative. Okay? So, what won't change are your supplement protocols. So go there on those graphs and look at how many of these am I taking the first 6 to 8 weeks. Then how many am I taking at 3 months? Then how many am I taking at 6 months? That won't change.
Dr. Vickers, I'm just trying to understand the requirement
But the castor oil's in there.
of 5 enemas per day.
You're,
Trying to understand why so many, right?
The
I mean,
toxins
I mean,
are-
of course, but I mean, what is I guess why 5, why not 3? Or just
I don't know. You'll have to get a Ouija board and ask Dr. Gerson. Well, I mean, it's obvious. Look, we're toxic. We're toxic not only from the lifestyle coming in here before we came in here. We're toxic now because the tumors have their own toxic byproducts. Then as we start juicing, we start generating more toxins because we're pulling toxicity out of the cells, especially if you've had chemo or any drug medications over time. Then, as the body's breaking down the tumors and rebuilding new tissue, there's toxic byproducts with that. So you're coming in here so toxic, and then we're generating toxicity on this diet with the breakdown of diseased tissue and tumors. And so it takes 5 enemas per day to start getting rid of all those poisons.
I heard people up to 10 that are really sick have done up to 10 that are like
Yeah.
extremely sick.
Yeah, like when people come in here really toxic, or they're going through a healing reaction, Gerson would give them enemas every 2 hours. He'd wake them up in the middle of the night and give them an enema. Listen, folks, think about this. Listen, you're getting your enemas at 6, 10, 2, 5, and 8. Then between 8 and 6, 10 hours, you're not getting anything.
So my kidneys hurt.
So that's why people wake up in the middle of the night with most of their pain, not feeling well. Do an extra enema. Gerson would wake people up sometimes twice a night to give them enemas if they were toxic. You can do that temporarily. to get you through crises. Okay?
Does that include your 5 then?
Yeah, couple of
5 and more.
Oh, so you want 5 during the day, but then if
Yeah.
you do it at night, you still want the 5 during the day.
Yeah, absolutely. But Gerson, for a couple days, a few days, would give people enemas every couple hours if he had to. If they were really toxic and then they were dumping poison, toxicity, absolutely.
Just like if they would do enemas with people that are doing chemo, if they would actually do that, the people could actually deal with the chemo better, but, it's terrible that anybody would have to
Imagine
do
that.
But they won't put the two together because that's holistic versus, they don't do
Yeah.
it, so.
So to do those extra enemas during the night, is not bad. Another thing, another reason why people always get their pain between 1 and 3 in the morning. That's when their pain's always the highest. Why? For what I just talked about, toxicity. But you have natural biorhythms in your body. And your body produces natural anti-inflammatories throughout the day. That typically starts at 4 a.m. At 4 a.m., the body wakes up and starts producing natural anti-inflammatories to keep you relatively pain-free throughout the day. Then, right around 8 p.m., well, actually 4 p.m., it starts to decrease. And then you'll start hearing people say around 7, 8 o'clock, I'm starting to feel a little bit of pain. And at 10 o'clock, it's a little more, but then they go to sleep. Then they wake up 1, 3 in the morning, the body's not producing any. That's like the liver's main detoxification period. And so it stops the production of anti-inflammatory hormones stops. And that's when they get their most of their pain.
I do it too in the middle of the night here, just
Yeah.
because of the detoxification that they put me on through has definitely made a difference.
Yeah.
So that's my most pain in the morning or in the
Yep.
middle of the night.
So what you do is program your triads for the middle of the night, your pain triad, or a castor oil pack, or your extra enema. Wake up and do an extra enema. And I tell you, it can make a world of difference.
I got one last question. It's a 2-part question. My doctors, I don't have a regular doctor. It's military, which is about an hour away from me. And every 2 years they change. And I haven't really been to a doctor in quite some time. Is the doctor's referrals going to be acceptable from Mexico here in the U.S. for me to go get a blood draw every 6 weeks that you need?
I'll let you know, I just did that for somebody. I did that for Tim, the owner of this. We just gave him a prescription for a blood draw from Dr. Martinez. We'll see. I doubt
I'm
it.
going to seek out a natural doctor, but in the meantime, just for me to go to the fort, so a little over an hour, and then they're skeptical, they don't believe in this type of stuff. So
Well, if it's a VA,
it's a regular military post.
well, then it shouldn't matter what they think. They should have to do it.
Because they tried to get me to go into the new site and everything.
No,
else,
they
and
should-
I told them no, thank you, and I've
They
been
should make-
bombarded with calls since then. They just won't give up.
They should. That's your right.
It's true.
Yeah, that at your point for the military, that's your right.
Well, I'd like to actually go local because the military base is a little over an hour away from me.
Local, they won't do it probably.
Yeah,
They won't
try.
probably take
You'll
it.
let us know what the referrals, and we'll get 1 or 2 referrals from him to see if.
Yeah, you'll have to try it. Just ask Stephanie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank
So
you.
anyway, that's it, folks.
Thank you.